Hey everyone, Rob Wlasuk, producer from the WWJ 24-hour Traffic Center. Even though COVID-19 has slowed a lot of things down and changed the way we do a lot of things, it cannot change the fact that the seasons are changing. And we are now in early April, and early April in Michigan is known as pothole season. Even with less vehicles on the road, there's no stopping the inevitable. Michigan roads will have potholes. Potholes can cause a lot of damage to your car. Blown out tires, damage. You could run into something by having a blown out tire. There's so much things that can happen. And there's a lot of people who may need to come to help you out. A tow truck driver, possibly a paramedic if you run into something, police officer to help you out. It just depends how bad things can get. So how are people who help you in these situations protect themselves during this time? With me to answer some of these questions is the Senior Communications Manager of the Road Commission of Oakland County, Craig Bryson. Hey, Greg, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Greg, first let's talk about your workforce. We were talking about this off the air just a little bit ago. You guys are essential. Many people may not know why you need to be out there, why you're considered essential. Can you kind of explain to everyone what you're doing at this time at the Road Commission?
Absolutely, and that's been a topic of a lot of discussion internally and in the road world in general. The safety of our workers and the public we serve are our top priorities, so we give a lot of consideration to that. But our philosophy has been, and this has been acknowledged in the governor's executive order as well, is that what we provide is an essential service. If the roads are not open, we have a problem. The doctors and nurses that are treating people in the hospitals need to be able to get to their hospitals and home. Emergency vehicles need to be able to travel on the roads. All of the other people that are doing essential jobs, even those people that work at grocery stores, need to be able to get to their jobs. And if we're not out patching potholes every day, if we're not fixing the traffic signals, making sure they're still working, fixing the guardrails that get hit, the traffic signs that get knocked down, then our road system will not function. And so we believe it's critical that we continue to make sure that road system is functioning. That's part of the way society is responding to this entire issue is we all rely on, the consistent things in life, that roads are accessible and working, among other things.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong. Now, the health, we do have the health scare. And, when I say this, I'm not saying this is a great time, but really it is a good time to get the roads cleared up and, clear the roads up, make them cleaner, make them nicer, just because there is less people on the roads. Would you consider that true?
Absolutely. Our construction contractors have less interference from traffic. Our own pothole patching crews do not have as many people whizzing by them and putting them at risk. It's a lot easier to close a lane to get pothole patching done. When we patch on a freeway, for example, we have to close a lane or two to do that. And typically we do that between 9 and 3 during the day. But even when we do that, we can stop up 2 lanes of I-696 and really slow down traffic during the middle of the day. Right now, it's far less of an issue. We can get it done faster, safer. Yeah, it's good. We wish this weren't the case, but it's a good time to do it while it's happening.
So talk about your workforce. Is there less people working? Do you have less work going on, or is it kind of business as usual?
It's both, really. We have given everybody the opportunity to stay home if they're are concerned. Certainly anybody that has any health issues at all, we're telling them to not come into work. We're doing a lot of things. We're allowing people that can to work from home. We're staggering shifts where we can. Starting next week, we're going to be staggering all of our road crew shifts so that fewer people are in the garage in close contact at a time when they start the shift. When they're working, we're reminding them that they have to remain 6 feet apart, keep that social distancing. We're doing as many things as we can to keep our people as safe as we can.
Talk with Craig Bryson, Senior Communications Manager of Road Commission of Oakland County. Okay, so let's talk about the potholes now. In Oakland County, let's kind of give everybody a heads up if they do, have to go through. Oakland County is a very busy area. Everybody knows this, arguably the busiest area in the state of Michigan. Where do you see the biggest potholes around this time of year?
Well, generally they're all over this time of year. I will say this year we're a little bit fortunate. The winter was a little bit more mild than it has been in recent years. The spring thaw, which can really play havoc with potholes, was actually pretty good from our point of view this year. So Fortunately, the potholes are not as bad this spring as they have been in some years. Now, there are certainly still potholes out there. It's not saying they're non-existent, but
They seem to be popping up a lot. Like the last couple of days, as I was telling you off the air before, we were getting tons of accidents, potholes
right.
being reported. So, like to me, it's like, okay, it's inevitable. This is going to happen.
Yes, and that's this time of year when the ground thaws and the ground becomes a little bit less solid is when we tend to see a lot of the potholes. A lot, we have more rain typically this time of year that gets into the cracks and causes problems. So we're seeing them on a number of places where we typically patch, and I can list some places in a minute. But the top priority is kind of like snow plowing. The top priority for us for pothole patching is the freeways, the busiest roads. So we're out doing a lot of patching on the freeways right now, what we call tightening them down, just kind of cruising along the freeways. Any holes we see, we're trying to fill them. Then we work down to the next busiest surface streets, the major mile roads. And in those cases, we're seeing a number of them that are kind of the typical roads we have not yet reconstructed or resurfaced. We're seeing some issues on Big Beaver in Troy, for example, DeQuinder and John R. in the Troy area. Out in Orion Township around the GM Orion plant, we're seeing a lot of problems in Giddings, Brown, Silver Bell roads in that area. Those are in rough shape and need to be resurfaced. Really, those are kind of some of the major areas. And then again, the freeways all over the county are a top priority.
Okay, so most likely everyone who has driven to Michigan has hit a pothole. Maybe some people haven't had a blown out tire and accidents. Many people don't realize how many people could potentially have to show up if you do hit a pothole, blow a tire, or God forbid you get into an accident or anything like that. Why don't you go through the process of maybe that for people who don't know, like how many people could potentially show up if you do hit a pothole and blow out an entire?
That's a really great point. I mean, you're likely to come into or potentially come into contact with, a half a dozen potentially or more people. You've got, so let's say best case scenario, you just blow out your tire and you're not injured. You got the tow truck person, which is at least one person is going to come and hook up your car. You're going to be in close contact with them. God forbid there's some injuries. You're going to have emergency medical squad. That's usually at least a couple people, plus the tow truck, plus the police officer, which is at least one, maybe two more people. Depending on how many people are in the car with you, you begin to add up a lot of numbers there. And then you've got to take your car somewhere to get it fixed. You've got to interact with the auto shop, dealership, wherever you go. And the list goes on down the line. If you're injured, you're going to have to go probably to the hospital where you're going to, and we don't want people in the hospital right now if they can avoid it. So
right,
that's
yes.
Another challenge. So yeah, the numbers of people that you will come in contact with can grow exponentially.
Look at Detroit police. How many police officers down there have been quarantined and have gotten the COVID-19 virus. It could have been from one officer and spread. So you call that one officer out to come fix your tire or have to help you, it can spread. I mean, that's what people really have to think about, right?
Absolutely, and as we all know, I mean, we've heard the stats that 25% of the people who are infected don't know it and have no symptoms. So you could have somebody come out to help you that has no symptoms but is carrying the virus, and you could become infected. Or some of the other people that come out to help you as well could be infected. So yeah, we'd like to avoid that as much as possible.
So really, like everyone's been saying, stay at home. But for the topic that we're talking about, you got to really watch out for those potholes if you can. Just try to avoid them. But everyone, if you can, just please stay at home.
Absolutely. And if you see them too, which is a good point, please let us know so we can patch them. And you can let us know either on our website or by calling us. We have a toll-free phone number, 877-858-4804, or our website, rcocweb.org. You can go on and fill out a form, and those potholes are a top priority for us.
Yeah. Also, you can list them here at WWJ Traffic. You hit us up at Twitter. You can message us here at WWJ. Give us a phone call. We're still taking phone calls. Even report it on the Waze app if you're a Waze follower. We can do everything we can to kind of help you guys, and you help us. I mean, everybody's seen it. So report those things. And so one last thing here. What are your workers doing to protect themselves on the roads when they're out there, fixing the potholes or whatever situations you have out there?
Great question. A couple of things. First and foremost, we have asked the public not to approach our workers while they're working for both the benefit of the public and for our workers. We don't want any more contact than we can have. So that's first and foremost. Please let them do their job. Secondly, they are all instructed and trying to stay at least 6 feet apart, social distancing, and avoiding, if there are people in an area, we'll ask them to move, avoiding any contact with the public that we can. While they're in our garages, our office facilities, we're trying to enforce the social distancing as well, at least 6 feet. Again, we're staggering shifts. We're having a lot of workers. For example, we have inspectors on construction projects that would typically come into the office in the morning, meet together, decide who's going to cover what, and then disperse to the field. We're having those meetings take place via phone. People will go directly from their homes out to the field, so they're not coming into the office. Those who can work from home are doing that at least part of the time. We're trying to stagger. If we've got offices where you have several people in close contact, we're trying to have, if there's say 3 or 4 in one office, one of them is there at any given time, the others are at home, and they stagger. So we can get the work done, but not have multiple people in close contact. And we're reevaluating this literally on a daily basis, looking at everything we do, how we do it. It's new for all of us, and we're trying to figure out the best way to do it as we go.
Kirk Bryson, Senior Communications Manager of Road Commission of Oakland County. Yeah, we know you're very busy, but we do want to thank you for taking the time, talking with us, and kind of shedding some light on everything you guys are doing and how to keep people safe out there. So again, thank you for your time. Please be safe, and we look forward to talking to you soon.
Rob, thank you. And I also want to say you guys are also essential. We really, really, at this point in time, need the media. And you guys, WWJ and others in print and broadcast media, do a great job of letting us know what's going on. So we really, really appreciate the fact that you guys are still working too.
No, we do appreciate that. And, thank you again. And, thank you for everything you do.
Thank you.
Take care. Talk to you soon.
Sounds good.